Now some of y'all may not be familiar with rhubarb. Maybe you've heard the name rhubarb but not really sure what it is. Where I'm from in western North Carolina, it's a big stinking deal. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason, and we're outside today. We're going to do something kind of fun. One of our favorite containers, okay, to plant in, because we do a lot of container gardening around here. We have a limited space. We only have a half-acre lot, and we only use the backyard. We only use our backyard for our food growing and chickens and everything else. So we do a lot of container growing around here. One of the containers we like to use the most to do some of the most, we'll say, creative planting that we do are these muck buckets. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, right here, this is a muck bucket. For those of you who don't understand what that is, muck buckets can be found at any of your farm supply stores. They're about like 58 quarts deep, something like that. So they're gonna hold quite a bit of dirt. As you see, this is a small nectarine tree. I believe this is the nectarine. This is a nectarine here, and this is a peach here. All right, we've been using these for a few years now to plant different things. Like I've top dressed this one with some bedding for my chickens. But we've planted fruit trees in these buckets. As you can see here, these two, and you can see the evolution of how we learned what we're doing with them. Because this did not have near enough dirt in it. This is an apple tree. This is also an apple tree. We did these like 3 years ago. But as you can tell, we've learned more about what we're doing. We've got all these trees planted in them, and they're growing really well. These got hit. These are neck tots. They got hit with a little frost, so the blossoms are fading fast. But as you can see, they have been a very good form of planting. I would say planting crops that need multiple years to produce fruit. So like apple trees, fruit trees, and in general, peaches, nectarines, whatever you can find, varieties that fit in containers. Now, not every variety of fruit tree is going to be made for a container. Those are smaller varieties that are meant to stay more compact. So that's why we use those to plant in. And we've planted a tomato or pepper inside these muck buckets as well, and they work very good for that. One thing that I love about them is that they are much cheaper much cheaper than a large planter that you're going to buy in the store. Those large planters can cost $30 to $50, depends on how decorative they are. These muck buckets, you can get them in most of your farm supply stores for 20 bucks or less. Now I have a couple right here that are empty that we've used for other things in the past, and I'll show you real fast. This is what one looks like here. You're going to want to drill holes in the bottom of it. If you can tell, I've drilled holes in the bottom of each one, kind of like this. See, just a lot of holes spread out, and that's for drainage. Okay, I think this is a 1/2 inch bit that I used, and so you just spread them out along the edges, along the middle, for good drainage. Another thing you can do as well, if you like, it may not be 100% necessary, but you can take like some short pavers or cinder blocks or something and kind of elevate it to allow that water to flow freely from the bottom. You could put it in a sandy or a topsoiled area. Like I'm going to put these over here on the edge of my on the edge of this flower bed here. Just get it out of the way. But if you put it elevated just a little bit on some bricks even, it can allow that drainage to flow more freely if you felt like it. It may not be 100% necessary, but it's not a bad idea. Another benefit to planting in these muck buckets is if you're planting something that takes a few years, like a tree of some kind, to produce fruit. If it takes a few years to produce fruit, let's just say maybe you're not going to be at this property for eternity, but these fruit trees are so expensive, or whatever it is that you're planting, that you don't want to lose it when you move. You could put it in a muck bucket, allow it to be maturing, and then if you move in a few years, then you can take it with you, and you can even transplant that from the bucket into the ground, and you're going to have a more mature tree that's already ready to go when you get to your new property. Like us, let's just say we want to move to a larger property sometime in the next few years. Possibly. Okay, well, what if we got these trees planted already? We're going to go ahead and have them maturing They're mobile now because they can pick up and move from wherever you want them in this muck bucket, and you can take it with you, and you can just keep it in the bucket or put it into the ground and let it get even bigger than it is already. And today we're going to be doing the same thing by planting some rhubarb in a muck bucket. Now, some of y'all may not be familiar with rhubarb. Maybe you've heard the name rhubarb, but not really sure what it is. Where I'm from in Western North Carolina, it's a big stinking deal. Here it is. All right, this is a started rhubarb plant, okay, that we got from Gurneys.com, I believe. And we got two different varieties. This one's called Hardy Tardy. The other one is called Kangaroo. So I think it's, who knows where they're originated at. But they are interesting plant. As you see here, they got leaves and these red stems. The red stems are what you eat. The leaves, however, are toxic. You do not want to eat those leaves, okay? If you have some foraging animals around your yard, like we have chickens, I don't want my chickens to get a hold of those leaves. It is toxic to an individual, to a human. If you eat too many of those leaves, it can cause kidney problems and possibly kill you. So therefore, I would avoid it at all costs. But the red stems are edible. Now, you don't want to harvest any of these stems or stalks this year, okay? Like, this is a started plant. Sometimes when you buy them, you buy crowns, okay? And the crowns don't have any foliage on them at all, and they're just literally roots that you put in the dirt. These are started plants. They were a little pricier, but it's worth it to get them going faster. So, like these, we can't harvest this year at all. Maybe next year we can harvest maybe a third of them, just a very small bit, depends on how much it grows. And then the next year you can harvest more, and so forth. As it gets more mature, you can harvest more of it. They're a very tart flavor, okay? So like in the South, we use them with strawberries, strawberry rhubarb pie, strawberry rhubarb crisp or crumble, whatever. It's absolutely delicious, but you need something sweet to go with it. Unless you just stinking love tart flavors, then hey, have at it. But you do need something sweet to go with it, but it's unbelievably delicious, and it's one of my favorite things to eat. All right, so we got our buckets filled up. Now, you're gonna wanna put these at least most of the way up. I probably could put a little bit more dirt in here, but we can put more dirt in here later if we want. Now, what we did do though, is we use a good potting mix, okay? See, very light potting mix. In containers, they're gonna heat up. The plastic or resin, it heats up and it compacts really bad, okay? This, if you use a regular soil or topsoil or compost or garden soil, it's going to compact. This is a potting mix or container mix. It's not going to compact. See, look at that. It's just going to be good loose dirt, and that's what you're going to need inside of these to keep them to hold moisture and to not compact. That way the roots have room to spread. Okay, so we took that, and because that is dirt that we have used before, we re-fertilized that dirt because rhubarb is a hungry buzzard. Okay, rhubarb is a hungry buzzard. He likes good, rich, fertile dirt, okay, and to be nice and wet, okay. So you're going to want to water these fairly frequently and make sure you put some good fertilizer in there. We use an organic fertilizer. We just do a rough estimate, honestly, a good like the NPK numbers, 15, 20 on nitrogen, maybe, you know, to 10 to 12 on the others, on phosphorus and potassium, okay. So, but just good organic fertilizer, and not too hot, but good enough, right? That's gonna really be what this stuff needs. And when you put it down, we need full sun to partial shade. Okay, and with these buckets, you're gonna have them close to where you're gonna want to put them because they get a little heavy. Now the potting mix is lighter, but once you got stuff in there, dirt, water, everything else, they get a little heavier. So you're gonna want to have it at least close to where you set them. So we put the dirt in. And to see how far down you need to dig the hole, I just put the pot in there to see, kind of give a good estimate, right? Pull it out. It's very simple. The other one we planted had a much hardier root system than this does, so it needed some breaking up. This one doesn't really need breaking up at all. Stick that bad boy in there. But they got a little broken shipping. That should be okay. And just do that. Press it down a little bit because this stuff will pack in a little bit too. Because it is so light, there's air in there, so you can kind of push that out, get it in there. Beautiful, right? Water them up, put them where you want them, take good care of them, and don't harvest them this year. Maybe not even next year, maybe 1 or 2 next year, maybe. But it's well worth it to get a beautiful strawberry rhubarb pie out of this bad boy. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. Hey, my name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love you guys. God bless you and goodbye.